All right, well, I'm glad that we're sneaking in an episode before Christmas, everybody. So, yes, this is indeed the Pink Boys podcast, and we are getting one of these out before Christmas. So, 'tis the season, right? Yeah, I'm starting to feel it. It's starting to feel... I've been in Scrooge mode. I was in Scrooge mode last year, but I think this year I'm at least engaged. I got a little tree with some lights on it out in the main room, which is good. So, yeah, it's the Christmas season.
Hanging around?
Yeah, got some knitted socks. You know, gonna give myself some stocking stuffers. But
dude, Christmas is fucking dead in New Zealand. There used to be like this massive Santa Claus figure that they would put on the main street, and they took it down because it cost too much money. So now, there's no Santa Claus anymore.
Isn't it like all summery over there though during
yeah,
December?
it's the heat of summer right now.
So you've got like Santa all dressed up in like winter clothing. It's like
yeah.
How does he know? Like fuck it, now it's hot in here.
Dude, I would love a white Christmas. Honestly, it would be so nice. The snow.
Yeah, I can name probably 2 or 3 in my lifetime real legitimate white Christmases. So,
but I've met a couple Americans when I met them overseas, and they say, "Dude, if I had summer in Christmas time, that would be so sick." And I'm like, it's not that good.
A lot of people do that where if they have a condo in Florida, they'll go there for Christmas, and I think it's lame. I don't think that's interesting. I think a part of the allure of the Christmas spirit is getting a little chilly, getting let's just say this. You can't be properly cozy when it's warm out. You just can't be.
Yes.
When you got that chill going and you're inside, you know, with the blanket and whatever beverage of choice, you know, doing what you want to do, that's the Christmas spirit. And you can't do that when it's 90 degrees outside. So
right, because warm weather is ultimately where we thrive in nature. So we kind of want to hibernate. So to do that, you know, cold weather is, you know, great.
You should go to school for anthropology. I think you would be good at that, or maybe
I'd get in trouble for certain.
Yeah, you would. There would be some controversial views you would bring to the table on that one for sure. So never mind. You don't need to go to school for that. Real quick though, kind of around the horn. What age did you guys start becoming Santa skeptics? And I'll just tell a story real quick on my end. I believed in Santa a little longer than a normal person would have, because my dad did a video where he filmed himself in a Santa suit. So the next day he was like, look, I got him on video last night. And he walks into the main room, starts putting gifts down, grabs a cookie or two. And then my dad goes, look, this is where he notices the camera. He notices the camera and comes up and shuts it off. But really, it's just my dad ending the video. He was recording of himself.
Upload it to Live Leak or something.
Yeah,
that's actually really wholesome and cool. I want to do that with my kids.
We never even... you know what? It's so funny. I always think to myself, I got to bring that... I've actually never gotten closure on it. I've realized it on my own, and it's never come up again. I bet there's a small part somewhere where my dad thinks, you know what? Maybe my kid's still buying that. You know, maybe the magic of Christmas will be alive forever because of that video. Because looking back, yeah, that was funny. That was funny and caring. So yeah, I was buying the Santa stuff for I don't know, probably like closer to pushing 9 maybe, which I think is late in the game. Yeah, because every time where I was over it when I was 7 or 8, I'd be like, okay, well Santa's not right. But I was like, we did get him on video though. Well, we did get him on video. That did happen. And this was still the 90s. People were a little more gullible back then. I couldn't get access to the information I needed to disprove Santa Claus.
This kind of naivety kind of really brings into question you and like conspiracies. Like
young Moyer's like questioning himself, and then his dad's like, "Look, we have the documents. Like, what are you talking about?"
I'm like, you're right. He's
like
completely
Santa
correct.
Claus whistleblower.
Is this how I'm going to get forced into a
dad?
That's how I get pushed into a FEMA camp. It's just going to be like, well, Santa says you need to go in there, and you got him on video, you know, however many years ago. So get on in there. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
I wish I kind of had that during my childhood, because Asian families they really don't believe in Santa Claus. So I never believed in Santa at all. Is that true? And every Christmas, my mom would just come up to me and just tell me like, okay, what do you want?
What you want?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes sense to me because Santa is this monolithic figure that could kind of replace the state in China. So the state doesn't want you thinking about Santa Claus. They want you thinking about whoever's in there, Xi Ping or something, as the ultimate Santa Claus. So you can't have a figure like that. No, but I just don't think that I forget what he derives from. I don't know if it's like German folklore or pagan folklore.
It was German folklore. Saint Nicholas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the saint's Catholic, right? I don't know. I bet it was started as pagan, and then there was a Catholic saint that kind of overshadowed. I don't know. It could be something like that.
You know what's really annoying? Every single year during Christmas time, you have these fucking losers on Twitter who always come around during Christmas time and say, like, did you know that Santa Claus was invented by the Coca-Cola Corporation? It's like, okay, can you... I learned that when I was like 13. Cool. Like,
is that true, or... Because my dad said no.
Yeah, your dad has documents, so checkmate.
That's the disclosure of Santa.
I don't care if he even was invented by Coca-Cola. It's Americana right there. So yeah. I think Coca-Cola was spiritually created. I don't even believe it had a real human origin. But okay,
so yeah. Coca-Cola is like the sun, and then Coke Zero would be like the Holy Spirit, right?
Well, no, that I don't subscribe to that in any way. Wow. But some casual blasphemy from a supposedly practicing Christian that I have to take seriously, amazingly.
Wow.
But so Santa, I think that makes sense because I just don't think there's some traditionalism in Asian mythology that kind of intersects with the concept of a Santa Claus. It's more of like a European construct. So maybe that's why your family wasn't big on it. But how long? So you never believed in Santa, Tyson?
No, it was pretty sick though because I knew for sure. Like, I get to pick my own presents. Where I don't think you guys get to pick your own, right? Like. It was a surprise. So whatever I wanted when I was a kid, I just told my mom, like, yeah, I want that.
That's so funny how that's so funny how out of it you are because you wrote a and this is another thing. I said there's collaboration between Santa and the Postal Service. That's another reason why he most likely existed. You write a list to Santa and put it in your actual mailbox and put North Pole on the envelope. And then the mailman comes and takes it.
So to the North Pole.
my Santa favored evidence at the time also was, well, the postal system acknowledges his existence and delivers him your letter. But in reality, it's your parents grab that letter from the mailbox, look at it, and say, okay, my son wants an e-reader, my son wants all this stupid stuff. Wow, okay,
dude,
my son's an idiot. So
I did there's something. So in New Zealand when I was like 6 years old, there was this Christmas in the Park thing. Where they would set up these telephone booths, and it was sponsored by this telecommunications company. But they would have these telephone booths where you could go in, and then you could pick up the phone, and you could tell Santa what you wanted, right? And I was such a smug little piece of shit that I was like 6 or 7. I went in, and I'm like, Santa, I know you ain't fucking real. You're a bitch. All that stuff.
I don't understand how I'm friends with you because the stories you tell when you were a kid, we would have never interacted at all. Right. We would have never been friends. You must have done some or that little kid is somewhere in there, which frightens me. So, what about you,
Okay, maybe there was like a period when I was like up to like 2 or 3 years old and I believed in it. But then there came a point when I was like probably 4. All I remember is...
You have memories of yourself when you were 3 and 2 years old, really?
I have memories of myself when I was like 1. But that's a whole different... That's a whole
something that people who think they're really smart say all the time. Oh, I remember things from... I know someone that says the same thing. Said, I remember... This one person I know
You're
said
really
he remembers...
Right now. I can back this up. I'm just like talking...
No, most humans can only remember things from when they're 5 less. Maybe 4.
There are reasons...
let me guess. You were writing out advanced equations when you were 2, and your parents said you were so smart.
No. If you have to know what it was,
you didn't Comp Sci 101 since you were 2.
No, if you have to know what it was, when I was 1 year old,
okay,
my mom was holding me, and I bashed her face into the torch and knocked her tooth out. And I recall like telling her about that memory I had. She was like, "How do you remember that? You were like 9 months old or something like that." And I was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, look at this tooth here. It's like, you completely fucked up.
Look what you did to me.
Yeah. Anyway, Yeah, it was like around the age of like 4. I noticed that like all the Santas in like the stores and the ones that would like kind of roll through, the estate or whatever, and wave at the kids. They all look different. I was like, well, are these body doubles? Like are there Santa clones around? Like, what's with this inconsistency?
You didn't think they were just cosplayers of the real Santa?
Is that what you thought?
Well, they claim to be the real one, and obviously grown-ups...
I knew the ones in the mall were fake, of course. So they're not the real Santa, but he has his acolytes.
Besides all of that, I was like, well, hold on a second. Like, I've never seen Santa, like, buying anything in the store. And, like, where does he store all these presents? Like, what, in the North Pole? Like, why isn't there any evidence of this? Like, surely someone would have, like, gone out and done something about this.
We haven't explored all of Antarctica, so no, they couldn't have. So maybe that's what they're hiding up there. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying there's parts of the world that we haven't fully explored yet. So there's always
4-year-old me knew about the Nazi UFOs in Antarctica. Oh,
yeah. Well, don't forget about the pyramids. So
and the Hollow Earth.
Hold on a second. Wait, Santa's sleigh has like no visible means of propulsion. Is Santa an alien? Is he buying a UFO?
Could be a demon.
Why don't you ask your buddy David Grush about that? He probably has the answers, right?
Is Santa based at the Nazi UFO base in Antarctica?
Santa's a Nazi. There we go. Well, that's the German folklore influence there. But also the other thing, the other proof he had going is that NORAD lies to the entire country every year saying that they're tracking Santa. Oh, he was just spotted over Egypt, like he was really dropping off presents to poor kids in Egypt. There's no way. He's not wasting his time with that. So,
Tucker's like, and why won't the Pentagon disclose Santa's real location? I've never seen Santa. Have you?
Exactly. I mean, some people try and say that he was based on like some... What is that, like psilocybin or some sort of like mushroom cult? Mushrooms. Yeah, he's like a mushroom cult figure, and that was his origin. So maybe he's actually real in the ethereal realm, right? So.
There is something quite eerie about Santa when you really think about it, like this idol that children just kind of revere, and like, something about that. I know it's like supposed to be sweet and wholesome, but it's like hypnotizing in a way. Oh, you have to be on the
it is for kids, for sure.
And the other thing, I've never seen anyone receive coal for Christmas. And like I knew some absolute pricks in school. And they still got PlayStation 2s. So
no, there was I know someone. It happened, but they had this is someone who's 20 years older than me, believe it or not. So they were very young, and that was when parents actually backed it up and said, "No, I really am getting you, Cole. You're terrible."
Really?
So yeah, yeah, I've heard about it. So, all right. Well, there's something much more pressing that I needed to get to quickly, and it was kind of an emergency message I sent out to Tyson when I noticed it.
It's so fucked up.
It's kind of one of the most messed up things we've ever talked about on the show.
This better be good.
I was in the gym, right, and I was on the treadmill, and I was minding my own business. There's about 6 or 7 TVs in the gym, and I was watching one of them. This is how I got into the show Castle, which I finished up on my own time, but I was following Castle a lot on the gym TVs, so I pay attention to them. On one of the TVs, there was an episode of The Big Bang Theory. Okay, and look, we'll get into Big Bang Theory and its effects on culture soon after this story. But what was going on the TV was Penny, the main blonde, highly attractive character on the show, wakes up in bed with Raj, the Indian guy. They woke up in bed together, and it looked like she had sex hair, and I thought it was some sort of, I thought it was like a misplay, or they both got drunk and fell asleep in the bed together by accident, or she thought he was Leonard, or he couldn't tell what was going on, or thought he was dreaming. I thought it was a huge misunderstanding, but further research into this episode, this was a cliffhanger of one of the seasons. I think it was seasons 3 or 4. So this was fairly early in the series. Penny supposedly comes close to sleeping with Raj, and then the season ends, and then it's barely mentioned in the next season, maybe in passing, because I think there was such negative reception to it. I can't believe this happened on that show.
Dude,
I don't know where I was.
Right?
Dude, I'm really
Conservatives want to talk about
that.
like the war against Christmas. What about the war in this? This is fucked up, dude.
Is that so is this like a cheating thing? Because I thought Penny was like with Sheldon or something.
She was with Leonard, okay. But they were on a break, and I think he was dating Priya, who was Raj's sister. So in that interim, she tries to sleep with Raj. So I was reading later on that the next season they bring it up in passing, and they say no, they didn't have sex. They didn't have sex, but they wanted to. Raj couldn't figure out how to get it's intimated that Raj couldn't figure out how to get a condom on or something, which is insane. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So how is this not talked about more? And how did the show get away with this storyline with Raj almost having sex with Penny? If anyone's watched even a few episodes of the show, that makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense, and I think it's frightening. And it also happened really early into the run of the show. I think how many seasons that show ended up being? Probably about 12, 10 or 12 seasons. So around season 4, you have Raj and Penny waking up in bed together. And it's not that they didn't have sex because they didn't want to. They just couldn't find a way to. I mean, maybe because they were so drunk or just the situation didn't let them. That's insane. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not ready to get past that. I can't believe that they went for that. I think the writers must have really trying to outdo themselves in that instance. But I didn't know that happened on that show. And I'm a little taken back by it. So,
are you a fan of Big Bang Theory? Like, really?
Go ahead, Tyson.
No, adding on to Ari's thing, like I used to love that shit, dude. Like I remember my sister when she visited me, like when I was like 11 or something. She brought her MacBook, and that was the first time I ever used a MacBook. And on her MacBook, there was a folder called like movies and TV shows. And she had all 10 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, and I swagged on that. I watched all 9 seasons in like 4 days, dude. It was so sick.
Did you really?
Yeah,
also, that's really nice that you had access to a MacBook. I'm sure you deserved it, just like some other people deserve a MacBook. Did you like that show?
I've never watched it before.
Okay. And you're sitting there like a snob saying like, "Oh, you never even watched it."
No, hold on. Okay, fine. I mean, I've watched like an episode or two because I was made to by people I'd rather forget about. When I was a wee lad, I didn't like it at all. I hated it. It's one of those things where it's like this can't be real. People don't actually watch this, do they?
Filtered.
It's funny how people waver their opinion on this show based on where the cultural tide is turning. And as a fan of Linkin Park, I thought you'd be a little more understanding about how people kind of turn their backs on popular, maybe unconventional shows or music.
I can understand that, but I mean, it was probably also soiled by the fact that the person that made me watch it was just insufferable.
Molesting you?
It kind of made me want to hate the show, so maybe my perception is skewed a little bit. But
so let me just get the record straight. Let me be clear. Let me be concise with this. When the Big Bang Theory show came out in around 07, 08, it was earth-shattering. It took over television. Everyone loved it. There was no one around saying like, "Oh, that show's so..." No one thought that in 07, 08. Everyone was watching it. Everyone loved it. They thought Sheldon was hilarious. And, they hoped Leonard ended up with Penny. And the way Penny played off of all of it. And Haley Cuoco was the it girl. Everyone thought she was the hottest girl in Hollywood at the time, or whatever you would call the equivalent for television. That was it. The show was incredible, and everyone loved it. And you know what? It was funny. It was funny, and everyone loves to sit back and say, well, the advent of cool nerd culture and like the failure to gatekeep nerd culture and why it's kind of mainstream nerddom is from the Big Bang Theory. It's not. It's not from that show. That show isn't what did that.
The funniest criticism I've seen of Big Bang Theory is like these people on Reddit saying like, well, they're not actually nerds. The equations on the boards, they're not real equations. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this?
I will give it that. It's not quite Reddit. Like Reddit. The Office is Reddit. Big Bang Theory is a little too...
You're just young. You don't understand.
Everyone
all love The Office.
Can we all agree, though, that apart from Big Bang Theory...
the American Office or the US or the UK one?
No one cares about that one in the UK. Richie Gervais is a fucking bum. No one cares about that shit. He's so...
I mean, I don't either,
boring.
but like, I mean, Peep Show is... Anyway.
Well, yes.
Can we all agree that apart from Big Bang Theory, another banger was 2.5 Men?
2.5 Men aged very gracefully. That show was... you want to talk about shows that changed the world as well? Huge. And I think that was the coming to... You know, in the 90s and 80s, sitcoms were a major part of daily life, and the sitcom has kind of fallen out.
That was the last gasp of a sitcom.
Exactly. You know? It was the apex of it. It was the culmination of everything studios learned over the years of what makes a good show. They hit it with shows like 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory. Now it's gone. The age of the syndicated sitcom is gone now because we have Netflix and streaming services. I'm not even sure
if this is on the same wavelength. Where you watched, or did you watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, but that was still in the heyday of popular sitcom. But yeah, that show
everybody
aged really
hates
well
Chris.
too.
I like that one a lot as well.
I don't know about you guys, but like in 2007 to 2010, the holy trinity for me was Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, and How I Met Your Mother. Like, I would watch those three like whenever they came on.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to How I Met Your Mother till later, but people who hate that show, they haven't truly watched it. It was witty, it was fun, it was a good show to watch. You know? Yeah, and there was definitely the actors really showed up for it. So I'll just say this quickly. Nerd culture wasn't mainstreamed by the Big Bang Theory. Around the same time of Big Bang Theory coming out, Iron Man came out, and Marvel movies are what kind of catapulted nerddom to the mainstream. People weren't watching Big Bang Theory and being like, oh, it's actually cool to like Green Lantern comics. And girls are like, oh, I like Green Lantern comics too. It's what Marvel movies did that. Marvel movies did that completely. Big Bang Theory was too playful.
Pretty great though.
No, they're great movies. They're phenomenal movies. But I'm just saying they're what normalized nerd culture. Those,
you know what I always wondered?
Those comic book movies.
If you were like one of those like early nerds before nerd culture was cool, and you were like getting bullied and stuff for that, wouldn't you be appreciative of Big Bang Theory for making nerd culture cool? Like, I don't know. Like, why isn't that a good thing? You know?
I think people don't think it's a good thing now because nerd culture's been so thoroughly invaded. It's been catching all the issues that mainstream notice.
That's true, but like imagine you were like the remember the kid like that was like the first meme kid that was doing the lightsaber on video. Imagine that you were that. Yeah, imagine you were that guy, and then like the things you were into were suddenly cool, and you weren't like bullied for that. Like, I think you should be appreciative if
you guys take issue with that stuff because you feel like the community itself is ruined, or do you find issue with it because you personally are unable to find someone to like bond with like properly? Like, you want to find someone that like likes this show as much as you do, but you end up finding someone that kind of likes it on like a surface kind of, you know what I'm trying to get at?
Those people all exist anyways. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you'll find someone who's partially invested in it or someone that's fully invested
if you take like a really obscure like weeb anime or something, like the odds are if you find someone else that's watched that before, they're probably just as weird as you, and you could probably like bond over that. But like if you take something mainstream, it's probably just going to be like some basketball player in Compton, and he's going to be like,
go on.
Okay, yeah, this is what happens when you let him go. You have to finish his stories for him. He's like a toddler. So
no, you're just not on my level of consciousness because you're supposed to infer
that's
from
a great
what I'm
excuse.
saying.
Yeah,
so
that is
me
the
with that
ultimate
low
excuse.
vibrational stuff. So
yeah,
we're not on the same hemimorphic resonance, right?
yeah, catch me biting the apple while you're eating oranges.
Of course, when he starts talking like a divorced mom who took a retreat to Sedona, California, that's when you know you've won the argument against him. He just says stuff about vibrational frequencies and all this stupid stuff. So, but no, okay. So, first off, to answer your question, I'll pick something really nerdy that I like, and it's the Jedi Knight Dark Forces games. Sure, you're right, but a niche of it. So these Jedi Knight Dark Forces games that came out 10 plus years ago, I think they're amazing. I used to play the game online all day, and obviously the communities still the dual community is sticking around a little bit there, amazingly, but I would love if that suddenly became mainstream and everyone loved those games and they became popular again. I hope Disney makes it as much as they've screwed up Star Wars to make it unrecognizable. If they came out with a Dark Forces movie, I'd love it, and I'd hope everyone watched it and loved it too. I'm fine with it. So I get what you're saying, Tyson. But the problem is, for instance, you take something like Warhammer. People are protective over its IP because when you let certain people in, they start saying things like, well, maybe it's not good that this specific race and Warhammer is, they bring progressive politics into it. And that's what people hate. That's why they think that a lot of what they're doing should be gatekept.
Counter argument. Sometimes I love that kind of thing when people bring politics. Take anime, for example, because it lets them reveal to you who they really are. So I know Moyer, you haven't seen this, but Tyson, take Naruto for example. Tyson, have you noticed that people that empathize with like the Uchiha clan or whatever tend to be quite they're a certain kind of way, and then like people that empathize with like Danzo or Tobirama are like almost always right-wing leaning people.
So, I don't think anyone that says like Lei Tobirama based is like saying that earnestly. I think they're just saying that as a meme.
Maybe not Tobirama, but like Danzo, for example.
Who empathizes with fucking Danzo? Like
Can you not empathize with him?
No, he's a fag.
No, he's not. What?
I love that you're lecturing or you're trying to make a point about niche nerd cultures and you bring up the most popular anime of all time.
Yeah.
And I know you like Attack on Titan as well. So
hold on. My entire point was grounded
in
like
that first mover's hate.
You've completely missed my point. My entire point was grounded in like anime becoming popular and mainstream, and then like politics being injected into it, and then that like revealing to you who people are. Like you can use the anime as a lens to see people's views. That was the entire thesis of my point. Like, if it was niche, then of course you couldn't do any of that. So
I get what you mean.
Once again, bite the apple.
All right, I think you're miscalculating the earnestness of people that say that they sympathize with like the Danzo and Tobirama.
I don't know, dude. If you type in Uchiha and then in quotes the N-word on Twitter, like you'll find a bunch of interesting posts.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're just being overly anecdotal, and that's fine. I mean, that's what we're here for. So,
real quick before we move subjects, but who in the Big Bang Theory would all of us be?
Oh, I would be the short Jewish guy with the nose. I'm not.
Ari would be Sheldon. Right.
No, come on, fuck you.
Yeah, he would definitely be Sheldon.
Who would I be?
I don't know, Tyson. I think you would be Raj, because Raj is just like a little aloof and goofy, and that's kind of you. Why? Who do you think you would be?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would say.
Maybe I'd be Priya. Raj's sister.
No, I don't think you would be able to be that.
Who's Sheldon's GF, the one of the glasses?
So, I forgot
Amy,
her name,
right?
but I know. Would you say Amy?
Amy, yeah.
Yeah. So here's my issue with that show too, and why people don't really poke at it the way they should, and why it jumped the shark. There are a bunch of nerd losers who can't get girlfriends, and that was the premise of the show. And they kind of want to use their. They don't flaunt their wealth enough in it because they're obviously really smart guys, but the premise of the show originally was, Leonard has no chance with Penny. As hard as he tries, it might not happen, even though it happens 20 times over. Look, they all get girlfriends or married by the end of the show. I'm watching this show to see these guys be a bunch of loser nerds. I'm not watching the show to see them get married and live fulfilled lives with these women and have like typical arguments that normal people have with them. It's just kind of
just like me for real.
Well, that was kind of the fun of it originally, is that they were a bunch of nerd losers, and instead it's like, no, they're actually not. They all are in relationships. It's like,
is this
well,
like
you're not anymore.
Friends for nerdy millennials?
I think it kind of became that at the end of the day. Yeah,
okay.
That's a good parallel. Yeah, it is something like that. But I'll just to cap it off, I was just shocked I saw Penny in a bed with Raj, and that there actually was a planned storyline for them to have tried to sleep together. I think that's insane. I didn't know that happened. That completely got by me. So I don't know what to make of that. So Big Bang Theory, you were on some weird shit 8 years ago. So that's all I can say. But I'm glad I got that off my chest. So we got Santa, we got the Big Bang Theory, and we call other people Redditors. So Tyson, you got a few things going on here. I got one that I want to hone in on, but maybe we'll save that for later. What do you want to talk about? What's pressing for you right now?
I want to revisit something that I've been thinking a lot about, and it's a topic that you brought up a couple months ago. The raising someone else's kid question.
Okay. All right.
God.
Do you remember your original position?
Yep,
Like,
I
it's
remember
not
all
that
of it.
bad, being a stepdad and stuff. And
not exactly what I said, but keep going.
Well, what'd you say?
No, you go. I don't want to interrupt your flow.
So since the past 2 months, I've been having these dreams where I have a daughter, right? And the daughter isn't biologically mine, but I find her in like this apocalyptic wasteland, and she has no parents, right? And
so
then
The Last of Us.
Exactly. So that got me thinking, upon further reconsideration, I would be okay raising someone else's kid, only if both of the original parents aren't in the picture.
Dead or just not in the picture?
So
adoption.
If I got like a daughter somehow, honestly, I would be more okay with getting in a relationship with like a woman who already has a kid, and then stealing the kid away from that woman, and then she's out of the picture, and I'm raising the kid by myself.
What? No, I thought
I love that they're a toy dog to you. It's just then I take them away, and then
I thought you were going in like the direction of you get with someone who hasn't got a kid and you adopt an orphan or something. But
no, because in this dating market, if you get over like 35, it's pretty hard to find someone who doesn't have a kid. And I think if I get with someone who's a kid, I wouldn't mind if they left the picture and left me with a kid.
You're making a good point. You're making a good point to consider here. So the favorite avenue of making fun of someone for raising someone else's kid is that someone else birthed that child. Are people making those same comments when you adopt someone? So imagine if you adopt a kid and everyone's like, "Oh, you're a cuck. You're raising someone else's kid." No one says that.
It's not cuck at all, because you're not engaged with the mother of that child. In fact, you're doing the child a favor and the child alone.
If you would be? So let me reverse engineer the concept of someone who's adopted into what I was originally saying in a past episode.
Real quick. Fathering a child of someone else that you're like dating, whatever, that's different because you have an obligation to your partner. Whereas under adoption, that isn't the case. Like, it's literally just you doing it for the sake of a child, like out of the kindness of your heart.
Yes. So here's my distinction.
That's a pure intention, and that's beautiful, and that should be encouraged, I think.
So you're thinking about that from the perspective, you could think about that from the perspective of a child. So when you're adopting a child, there's no preconceived notions in this child's mind. They're thinking to themselves, I'm getting a family. I can hopefully be loved in a way I haven't been loved in my entire life. if you think about it from the perspective of a child, when a single mother has a child and another man comes into a picture to fulfill the role as man in that family, just speaking purely from the relationship from the child to the adult, it's a good thing for the child because they have another stable adult in their life fulfilling a role that they need that wouldn't be fulfilled otherwise. Now, if you want to talk about it from the relationship of the guy to the child, yeah, it's incredibly hard to stomach. Are you kidding me? I don't want to raise someone else's kid. That's ridiculous.
But wouldn't you say it becomes easier if the woman isn't in the picture?
No.
I don't...
If it's not adoption, then no. Like,
I don't think you get to choose
Tyson,
that.
You stole a child.
Okay, no. Let me give you guys this hypothetical, right? You're roaming in apocalyptic wasteland.
Hypothetically stealing a child from
scenario A, you find and become the stepfather of like a child and the mother who's with her. Or scenario B, the same thing except the mother's like dead or she's not there. A or B, which
Hold on. What were these scenarios again?
So you're roaming in apocalyptic... I didn't know it was
an A or B question when
you're roaming in apocalyptic wasteland, and there's two realities that you can choose from. You stumble upon a kid, and you take care of the kid, but the mother's in the picture, and you take care of her as well. Or you just stumble upon the child, and the mother's dead, or she's not there. Just the child.
It's different.
I want the one with the mother.
It's still different, though.
Because that kid,
the child at the very least has a mother. The other one is literally fucked.
Yeah. So in your hypothetical situation that you prefer, you would want this child who you supposedly care about, mom, to die. So
no,
I'd go with the kid that doesn't have a mother.
Let me try to parse through this. No. You guys are misconstruing it.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from someone who kills and abandons cats.
Okay. Yeah, that's also true as well.
Late even face. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, above all else, I would still prefer to have kids of my own, right? Kids that are biologically mine. But if I had to pick a scenario where I have kids that aren't my own, I don't want the original parents in the picture. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. In a perfect world where you had an imaginary...
Just adopt then. Just go straight for adoption.
Adoption could be...
I want to raise a child, but like, I also have to, like, go...
I think Tyson's argument is supporting adoption, mainly. That's
what it sounds like it, but it sounds like
you guys
Tyson's
have to remember,
like
I'm speaking from the perspective of you're in an apocalyptic wasteland as well. So... There's that.
Okay, so Fallout, yeah. Okay.
I mean, how much more hypothetical do you want me? How much do you want me to stretch this with you, Tyson? So, so it honestly sounds like that's a point in my column for the argument I made episodes ago. A little bit.
Yep. Sure.
So just so everyone. Cliff's notes, my argument was that, yes, it's biologically difficult and no one should fault a man for not wanting to stomach the burden of another man's child with their girlfriend. But the one bright side of it is that you are giving a child a father figure that they wouldn't have otherwise. And you know what? There's tons of families that grow up where the child says to themselves, they say, I don't care who my real dad is. He left me a long time ago. The person who came in and raised me, he's my father. And they love them like a father, and that's a really important part of their life. So I don't see why it would be healthy to hate something like that. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Maybe
it's just really tough to get by as a guy.
I'm
I get that.
too scared by the stories that I hear, but I keep hearing these stories of exactly the scenario you described, where a kid, they recognize the step parent as like their real parent, but then once they turn 18, the adoption agency gives them the opportunity to meet their birth parent.
Yeah,
and then once they meet that parent, they throw all their love for their foster parent out the window, and they get infatuated with their biological parent.
Yeah, absolutely. That
may
is the
not
risk
also
that's
regret
there.
that too. There's a lot of stories around that.
Tyson, was that along the lines of the story where the woman met her biological dad, then had sex with him, then had a kid with him, then I think someone ended up dying?
No, but I'm aware of the relevant facts with that case as well.
so I was going to say...
It's on your radar.
The reason why the kid doesn't have a father matters a lot, I think. Like, is the father dead, or is there something more sinister going on? where like there's partial responsibility on the woman, and in engaging with someone like that, I can kind of see how it could be cucked. They're like, oh, I'm going to be a real man. I'm going to pick up someone else's leftovers. Or is this a case of like, no, I'm going to save this person, you know?
You know what it is? If you take the role of a stepdad and the woman is still in the picture, she can, if the relationship goes sour, she can just say, well, you're not the real dad. I want to take the kid, and that's the last time you'll ever see them. If the woman isn't in the picture and all the parents are dead and you're the sole caretaker, you're locked in. So you have to be a good parent for that kid, you know?
I love that you need motivation to take care of a child.
Right.
I'm saying like the mom could come and take it away, you know?
I get it. There's obviously tons of risk involved. Put it this way. Okay. So obviously people look at single fathers that come into relationships, and foster kids as, they're disdainful of them, right? What if you're a dad, you have a kid, okay? Your wife dies, you remarried, the person you're remarrying also has a kid. So we'll just think about the Brady Bunch, really. So there's no problem with that, even though you are raising someone else's kid. You are. So just the fact that you have your own kid in the picture fixes all of that?
I think it does, because you also have to remember at that point, like, you both... I mean, it also depends on, like, why the other person doesn't have
like, is that guy a cuck? Is he a cuck? You know what I mean? I don't think so.
It might sound evil, but like when you describe that, I thought, that would be okay if like the second wife dies as well. So I'd be the sole caretaker.
That's unhinged. Like, you're definitely in the wrong place there. Yeah, that's the little kid coming out.
So Tyson
that's
here, he
inside
kind
of
of looks at kids like Pokemon and women like
no,
seriously.
Okay. Yeah. I love this argument.
It's like disposable like means to capture children.
It's just incredibly selfish that when he finds out he's ready to be a father in this apocalyptic
Tyson would be a great.
Look, it's a hypothetical, okay?
Hey, and we're digging into it right along with you. You're just not liking what you're hearing, so. But I'm sure you'll be a great apocalyptic single dad someday. To your fake daughter. So we are happy about that.
God
we are
forbid Tyson starts an orphanage or something.
But you know what, Tyson? First off, it's very shamanic of you to be having these dreams that are teaching you greater lessons in life. But I am appreciative that you're approaching the subject with nuance, at least. You're thinking further on the subject besides reading on the internet that people are cucks and just drawing a conclusion from there. You're thinking on the subject with nuance, and maybe in not the way I was thinking, but it's growth. It is definitely growth. So I'm just saying there's more there. When there's a kid involved, you have to think about it from the kid's perspective, and I think a lot of the times kids having a figure like that in their life is a good thing for them. But, obviously it could go any other way.
It's always a good thing to love children. Like, that's just never a bad thing.
Okay, Michael Jackson.
What the fuck? See, okay, right? Okay.
He didn't molest anyone, so it's fine. I could say that jokingly.
Okay. Hold on a second. No, I'm not letting you go. No, not after you just said that. No. Moyer,
you think he did?
Within the first 10 episodes of the Pink Boys podcast, I recall you vehemently holding the stance that Michael Jackson was indeed a child molester.
No, I don't think so.
Seemingly because I was in support of Michael not being one. And now you seem to have turned the...
Next episode, I'm going to find what you're talking about, because I've been a Michael Jackson truther for quite some time now. Definitely since the beginning of this podcast. Yes, especially since that Finding Neverland documentary came out and everyone was all over it. I think that's what we were
talking about.
Oh, and I stayed steadfast on that one. And I remember saying it, they're full of it. And then they later... Years later, when people stopped caring, they recanted everything.
Dude,
the people who made
every single source in that documentary recanted their story. Like every single one.
Isn't that insane? Yep. Isn't that insane? But nope, they already got the discourse that they were looking for out of it. He was never found guilty in the court of law. I remember the day when he was found innocent in court, and everyone was celebrating.
Let me bring up a conspiracy theory about Michael Jackson that I definitely do not believe in, and I am not endorsing. But basically, In the late 80s or early 90s, in the song They Don't Really Care About Us, Michael Jackson was recorded saying, kick me, and then K-I-K-E me, and then
Yes.
J-E-W me. You know, that kind of thing, you know, being anti-Semitic. And then there was also a leaked phone call about him also calling out Jews in the media and, you know, saying the usual anti-Semitic stuff you'd hear.
Yeah, he didn't make friends with that side of the aisle, which is most of Hollywood.
Right.
But that's understood.
And shortly after that, some rabbi or whatever was seething on CNN. So he censored the song. They don't really care about us. And then he went on to do a tour in Brazil, and then went on to say the original lyrics.
Really? Oh, I'm sure the Brazilians were loving it.
I'm sure they were. And then and that sort of like triggered a whole shitstorm. And then shortly after that, all of these allegations started. And he started like, oh, there was the other thing as well. He owned like half of Sony. Like Michael Jackson was in possession of like the Beatles as like the name and everything. Like,
yes.
Michael
Apparently,
Jackson owned
he didn't
the music
like
industry.
buy that much real estate. He just bought like music catalogs, which is fucking sick.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's sick. The guy was a billionaire. Not many people knew that. But
Well, now Taylor is as well. So, okay.
except she's a Satanist. I'm sorry.
I think she's too inoffensive to be a Satanist, but she definitely made a deal with the devil somewhere. That goes without saying. So Tyson got to talk about his revisiting the single mother question. So I'm going to pick a subject that Tyson put down that I need some clarification on. So his description of this subject is one wrong turn, Indian rapes me.
Yep.
So I don't want to infer anything else from there. So what is this, Tyson? What is one wrong turn, Indian rapes me?
So I was reminiscing about how fragile life is, right? And you know, it doesn't really seem like it when you're in the moment, but like, dude, one small decision can change your life so fucking much. It's unreal. And at the time, it seems like a nonchalant decision, you know? You guys like ever have that thing where you look back and, if I just didn't do that, my entire life would be extremely different. I'm sure you guys have that, right?
Effect?
Absolutely. I think about that when I drive all the time.
And it's like, you know, I thought about this one case that happened to me where, so I was 18. It was my first trip, first time going overseas on a holiday, and I went to Thailand. And I was there for like 2 weeks, and about a week in, I was locked out of my hotel room, and it was like 3 a.m. And I was so fucking drunk, and the hotel reception wasn't there. So I couldn't get inside my hotel room. So I was just wandering the streets, and I was chilling outside this like 7-Eleven, smacked out of my fucking mind, right? And then I saw this Indian guy like manning a food cart, and I bought like a hot dog from him, started talking to him, and you know, I told him like, yeah, you know, I'm like locked out of my hotel room. I just need to find a place to sleep. Maybe I'll sleep on like the fucking beach or something. And then he gives me this creepy smile, and he's like, you know, you can sleep in my house if you want. You can even sleep on my bed. And then, obviously, I had enough sense at that time to like say no, but I thought, you know, what if I was a bit more drunk and I'm like, fuck it, you know, yeah, let's do it, right? And I thought to myself, dude, if I did that, I would have gotten raped, and my entire life would be so different, you know. And that one the hypothetical incident of me getting raped would have changed everything about me. Like, if he did that, I'd probably like turn gay or something. I'd be like one of those like Asian. I'd be like one of those Asian gay guys who's like recently comes out, but like still is ashamed of being gay.
At least he'd be skinny.
You know? Yeah. It's like reality A, I'm where I am today, and then reality B, I'd be like one of those like San Diego like Asian gay guys where like
I did not expect
I'd
it
have
to
a
go this
boyfriend,
direction at all.
and I'd watch like Stephen Colbert on like a fucking Tuesday night or something. You know, like it would have been so over if I just said yes to that one question. You know,
why do you think that's a likely outcome from that? Like, and not like being traumatized and beating the shit out of him or getting robbed or something. Like, you immediately jump to, I'm going to get raped and I'm going to turn gay.
Dude, you need to have seen this guy smile. Like, you just know if you see
from
that
ear to ear. You knew he was getting some that night. Yeah, he's got a tourist come and be like, "Oh, I have nowhere to sleep, and I'm so drunk." You're probably pulling your shirt down a little bit too, showing off the goods. And he's like, I take you to my house," and then he's getting some big grin, ear to ear. Yeah. What can you do? What can you do, right? Yeah,
dude.
Those are the
one
big
question,
decisions.
and I would have been a gay guy. Holy shit, you know.
I mean, I've had so many instances where terrible driving decisions where I just gotten lucky and I would have died if, taking turns before looking, and if there was anyone coming the other way, I would have died in that moment. There's plenty of those like that. I've ended up with people I shouldn't have ended up with. Being fearful of what could happen there. I remember one time I was playing basketball in the front yard when I was about 5 or 6, and someone got out of a van and started walking down the driveway towards me, most likely to kidnap me if I didn't make the split-second decision to drop the basketball where I was standing and run inside. Then, it could have been different. I almost did Mark Wahlberg. It wouldn't have gone down like that.
I was playing football with one of my mates across the road one time. I was like a little kid, probably like 5 years old, and the ball went into the road, and I like ran to go and get the ball, but I hesitated for a second. Like I stopped, like on the sidewalk between two cars, and like I wanted to go get it, but like just something told me to hesitate. And then like a red car came speeding by, doing like 50 and a 30, and then like it like I was like right on the edge of like going into the road, and the car went by and it swiped my hand. Like my hand ran across like the side of the car and like gave my hand like a slight burn. But it like brushed past me and I didn't get hit by it. And then like, I froze up. I was like, what the fuck?
How old were you?
And then like 5 or something. And then I think like, my dad or something saw it. Or it was my sister or something, and she like screamed. And then my dad came like, what the fuck's happening? And I was like, what the fuck? And then the car like came back around and stuff, and like an old guy came out of it. And like he just started crying, saying like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry."
Really, he came back and said that? He must have felt really bad.
Respect.
Oh yeah, he felt terrible. Yeah, he felt terrible.
Dude, I think if it was going 50 and a 30 and you were 5, there was like 0% chance you're surviving that. All right?
Yeah, you would have gotten decked. You would have gotten decked pretty hard.
I also have like this really fucking morbid story, right? So there's this kid that I went to high school with. He was in my class. And, we graduated. He went to university somewhere else. And then I hear this news story that he actually drowned in a river. And the way he drowned was he woke up one morning and this friend said, "Yo, let's go and take pictures of this river." And then like while they were taking pictures of this river, there was like a flash flood and both of them drowned. Like, can you imagine if like just like something as nonchalant as like, "Yo, do you want to go and chill and take pictures today?" And that ends your fucking life, dude. Like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I always think back to it sometimes. It also depends on other people. I remember when I graduated college, I went out afterwards, celebrated pretty hard, did some drinking. Then I had to be at my buddy's house because his parents were taking us out for dinner to celebrate some more. I shouldn't have done this, but I was feeling amped up. I got in my car and drove. I wasn't plastered or anything. I was on four drinks, right? So over the limit, but not inebriated to the point where you're going to kill someone. So whatever, just sue me. I don't know what you want me to say, but when I was driving, I got pulled over. And it's funny because I'm not a stellar driver, but in that instance, I didn't do anything wrong because the cop pulled me over. I was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And
he seemed alright when you were drunk driving me around.
Well, we don't know if that happened or didn't, but New York City's a different place to drive around. We'll just say, if you need some help there, you need some assistance with the people driving around there. But the cop pulled me over. He said it was just a slow day. He really didn't have a real reason for pulling over. It might have been my registration was expired, and he said he noticed, and my friend, he had a good move. He like kind of pulled our graduation gowns up a little bit to show that we, kind of just graduated college. And he started talking to me, and he was like, "Did you guys just graduate from school?" And I'm like, "Yeah, literally 2 hours ago," And he was like, "All right, I can tell you've been drinking. Please be really careful. I might tail you a little bit on the way home, but let me just run your license real quick. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I give him my license, and I said, I can't thank you enough. Like, I really apologize. He's like, is your friend sober? And I'm like, yeah, he actually is. Which, looking back, I don't know why he wasn't just driving in the first place. So stupid. But my friend was like, yeah. So he's like, all right, let me run your license real quick. He runs my license, and it's like, your license is expired, so you're technically driving without a license right now. So I'm like, my bad. So I was basically caught driving drunk with an expired license, and the cop still at that moment said, "This is your one. This is your one. I'm letting you're good to go. I will give you this one instance, and you please remember it for the rest of your life." And when I got to my buddy's house, I was like, I felt like I shouldn't be alive right now. I mean, that cop could have jammed me up 20 different ways. I could have easily gone into $10, $15, $20,000. I could have gotten jail time. Could have got my license suspended.
Can you imagine?
And how would that have set me back after getting a new job right out of college? Yeah. So
can you imagine if he was like one of those uptight cops that just wouldn't budge? Like, it would have been over.
It was a notoriously uptight area for police officers. Really difficult ones to deal with. So the fact that happened to me in that area is mind-blowing. So I think about things like that. My life could have been changed at least for the next 5 years over an instance. Yeah,
you would have been a felon. You know,
so probably could have led to that.
A top tip that I learned from Twitter that I've never actually tried for if you get pulled over by a cop: always have a bottle of really strong poop fart spray in your car. And if you get pulled over, if you're like drunk driving and you get pulled over or whatever, literally spray a bunch of it in your car, like all over the place. The cop pulls over, like make sure the window's down and he's getting a good waft of the poopy smell. And if he asks like, why are you speeding, why are you wobbling, like just say, I need to shit so bad I got diarrhea.
I need to go to the bath.
I need to shit.
That's a good point.
You know, a real technique would be to. So if they think you're drunk and they want to make you do the fucking sobriety test, or breathalyze you, no, I mean the sobriety test where you walk in a straight line and all that, you refuse that, so they have to take you into the station and do a breathalyzer test, and then by the time you get to the station, hopefully your body would have processed the alcohol, and then you would appear sober.
I mean,
if it check your blood though.
Probably takes about a half hour to get to the station. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you buy all the time you got to buy all the time you can, right?
Yeah.
That's not bad. I just say sir a lot. I'm not gonna lie, dealing with police officers makes me uneasy. I'm actually not good at speaking with them, which is strange. I have a buddy who got pulled over, destroyed one time. These were in his unlawful days. He was really drinking and he got pulled over, and he's like, my life's over, so I'm just gonna go all out. So I'm gonna act as casual as I possibly can. He lit up a cigarette before the cops got the He's like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. Just smoking a cigarette. He went all out. The cop let him go. Couldn't tell that he was drinking. Genius. Really
act like you belong, right?
Smart guy. Yeah.
Do you guys think, like, in the moment, behaving and being drunk is a choice?
What do you mean?
Yes.
You can,
actually, yeah, I know what you're saying. A little bit. Yeah. I do. I have no patience for when I drink. I don't know. I have more fun. Really. There's other people where when they drink, they're angry and weird.
Yep.
That says something deeper about people, and I don't associate with people like that. I think it's embarrassing. Really, I think it's embarrassing when people change when they drink.
People say that, like, oh, it's not the real me, but on a neurological level, it suggests that it really is like the real you, because all it does is remove your inhibitions. Your thoughts and your consciousness is all the same. You just don't care to, like, face consequences or anything anymore. You don't think about like the future or whatever, so you do whatever the fuck comes to your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're talking about that kind of stuff, I think you actually had a subject that you were interested in. I think it's a little too amorphous for the scary door. So
a little too short and a little too
liquid. Some would say.
It's a good segue. So you guys must be familiar with the double slit experiment, right? Everyone's heard of this, right?
Yeah.
Moyer, are you familiar with
it? No, but don't explain it to me. I'll figure it out as you go along.
Okay, so the double slit experiment is like some old thing in quantum mechanics that was done in like the 1800s or something. Long story short, they take like an electron beam gun, they fire a photon, and then they do it through one slit and then like two. And depending on if...
is it if you're watching it?
Yeah.
It reacts differently? Okay,
yeah.
Then I do know what you're talking about.
So
okay.
this is like the first thing. So this is like... Just keep that in mind. So I came across something called the rice water experiment. You guys heard about this?
Is it about starving Asians?
No, but it involves an Asian man, so I mean, sure.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right. So a certain doctor, Masaru Emoto, he there's some superstitious shit that his family was talking about, and he did an experiment. He's a doctor. He's into this physics stuff, so, you know, all right, let's test this hypothesis. So long story short, what he did was he took 2 bowls of rice, and then he cooked them in water so the rice absorbed it, and then he cooled it down, and then he put it into 2 jars, and then like you separate the rice, one rice and flour rice in one jar, the other in the other, and then he took a label, and on one of them he wrote "I love you," and on the other he wrote "I hate you," and then
don't tell me the rice got upset.
Hold on. Oh, and then he did the third one as well, and that one had nothing on it. It's like a kind of benchmark, right? And then, so seal the lid, whatever, put them in the way. So now there's a jar that says "I love you," one that says "I hate you," one that says nothing. And like every single day, he'd pass by this jar and he'd consciously focus positive emotions to the one about love, negative ones to the one about hate, and he'd just be indifferent about the other one. That'd be...
Bro.
I know this sounds great. Just keep listening.
No, I like it. It's just the thought of imagine you just staring at a rice ball being like, I hate you. Anakin from Star Wars, I hate you.
So over the course of months, he observed something very, very interesting. The one that he
put his dick in because he loved it.
The rice with no label is like, you know, experience a normal rate of
it's apathetic rice, okay,
of like rotting, of like breakdown, whatever. The one with the hate label was like significantly more rotten and like broken down. It's like detritus feeding on it. And the one that said "I love you" almost looked as good as new.
Stop
Months
it.
I'm not kidding.
Really, as good as new.
The takeaway from but keep in mind the whole thing about like conscious thought being able to alter physical reality. Okay, so this would suggest that like water responds or like has feelings or something, or like at the very least responds to like your thoughts.
Well, hold on. How is it water? It could be the rice, right?
Or the rice, but I mean, we'll get
the
into
rice
this. There's a reason why the water is the focus here. So, this is actually a repeatable experiment that you can try yourselves. So, you know, there is whatever's going on, like there's something here, and it's actually like, it's not like a Rupert Sheldrake thing where it's like dismissed or whatever. This is like a real thing that like quantum physicists look at and they're like, what the fuck? Kind of like the double slit experiment.
Almost like they don't know anything. But
So to get into like the more superstitious side of things, we're made of like 80% water, right? So could the water in ourselves, in combination with our thoughts,
be a vessel?
Influence? Yeah, be a vessel, like be a vehicle for, you know, events. Whether you're channeling something into someone else or you're channeling something into yourself. And the other thing, I think you can infer from that like what I'm getting at, like, you know, love yourself or hate people or whatever the fuck. But I had a thought and it really made me think. Does this explain like the nature of holy water?
I wasn't even getting there from that. I mean,
think about it, right? It makes sense if like water's a vessel for like consciousness in a way, or like you can like seal something in it and have it do stuff for you. Then like,
it's possible. I don't think there's enough provable. Not that I care. And honestly, I don't even know what the official biblical tenets are for holy water as it being effective. I think it's just more like blessed, if you're being touched by water blessed by Jesus Christ, then I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'd have an effect. But I don't know about the concept nowadays. But
the blood
I
of
don't
Christ is. I mean, blood is also made up of water.
To kind of like lend credence to your theory, Ari, holy water does taste different to like regular water, so maybe there's something in there.
Why are you drinking holy water?
I was thirsty.
Did you bless it and then drink it or something?
I don't know how. I forgot how, but like I remember I had a cup of water and then I had a cup of holy water, and they tasted different. So.
Well, yeah, this is. I just wanted this to be like a positive message. Just try it. You pour in a cup, like a glass of water or something. Say something nice to the water. Like say, like, this is going to be a good day today.
Wait.
Thank you, God, or something.
You
like
remember this fact that were. I'm not sure if you guys have heard this, but like, I think there was this like fact going around that if you speak to your plants, they grow better. Maybe like that. The water in the plants is a conductor for that, It
doesn't have to be. Maybe it's not. Maybe the water is just an example of it because a lot of life happens to be composed of water.
What if it's again, maybe this is what Ori was talking about on our other podcast, The Scary Door, hemimorphic or whatever. So maybe it's not the plants or the water at all. It's your mind and its intent and its effect on the world around you. So maybe the water doesn't have these receptive properties or plants. It's that with the, it sounds so corny, but with the power of your mind, quite literally, you're able to influence the world around you. And that kind of gets in the realm of, idealization and, putting what's in your mind into practice in the real world. It's basically The Secret for water rice. If you actualize what you want your water rice to be, then it will be that.
Ari,
it could be that.
When you said that you were going to talk about water magic, I thought you were going to talk about like dowsing or something like that.
Avatar.
Nah. But no, I found it interesting because I see where you're coming from, Moyer. But I found like conceptualizing it in a more kind of simple, kind of material way. Like this whole water rice experiment might make it easier for like most people to kind of put it into practice. Do you see what I'm getting at there? Because it's like there's less like awareness going on then. It's like more subconscious because you kind of just let it be and
power of positive thought, right? So I thought if you became a rice hater enough, then it would be fueled by its anger and stay healthy like the other one, or try and outdo the other one that's near it.
Like the hater rice gets on the grind set.
Yeah, exactly. I want my rice owner to hate me, so I'll grind that much harder.
Is it the rice responding to you, or is it like a case of no, you actually hate this rice, so you are making it suffer?
Yeah, you're willing it to die. I mean, I knew someone that really spoke poorly about a teacher in school, and then she ended up getting MS, basically almost dying. I don't know if she's still alive now.
What if that is the reason why prayer works?
It's a good thought.
The question is the rice... can you see what I'm getting when I say, is the rice responding to you, or are you inflicting upon it as like a kind of Gnostic god kind of thing? You see like the difference between the two?
Inflicting upon it? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Totally see the difference, and I think it's really interesting. So
that's just a tidbit there.
Yeah, so next time you're drinking water, be really nice to it. You never know. No, it could taste better than usual. I remember I dated this one girl that was saying she watched some stupid documentary that talked about how all water comes from the same place, and you thinking that it tastes differently is in your mind. It's like, bitch, do you ever have Dasani in Fiji? I'm sorry. There's a complete difference between the two.
Like, which wins between Dasani and Fiji?
Fiji, it's not even close.
Nice.
I haven't had Fiji, you can tell it's Fiji. Better. Dasani, you can taste how disgusting.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, can I just say?
Deeply wrong. I'm a Poland Spring
Smart
guy,
water, it's for Redditors, I'm sorry. That's like the most Reddit form of water you can possibly have.
They talk about us more than or you talk about them more than they'll ever talk about us.
No, that's Tyson.
I think we have a problem.
No, you brought up Reddit more than I have this episode. So
I think he's got a fixation this episode.
Sorry, you guys are going on about the Big Bang Theory for how long?
Also, hold on.
But we're earnest about it.
Let me just expose this, all right? But me, Moyer, and Ari compared like did an expose on like which subreddits we were subscribed to. I had like 10. Moore had like 10. And Ari was subscribed to like 35 of them.
Hold on.
Wait, I
on.
thought Tyson had more than Ari. I thought Tyson had like 2 pages of them.
No, I had 1 page. Moore had 1 page, but Ari posted 3 pages of subreddits that he was subscribed to.
That's true.
Go back and read the subs I'm subscribed to, and tell me if those are like anything.
He subscribed
remote.
to some pretty cool ones, though. He did find some cool ones, so I'll give him credit for that. But I'm only subscribed to about 6 or 7.
Well, I will say this:
20.
as much as we shit on
Ari's
Reddit,
got 40.
I have 15,
Reddit
but
is
like
good
half
for
of them are fucking architecture subreddits. So
Yeah, which is fair.
that's fine. Real quick, what Reddit's good for one thing, and that's small community. That's literally what it's built for. It's like a little. It's like socialism. It's good for little villages.
Okay. Well, we've covered, God knows, Santa, life-changing events, being nice to rice water. I think we're gonna wrap this one up, guys. So I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And yeah, until next time, we're the Pink Boys.